I've got no idea what is going on. Sorry I missed the end of the qualifying there, but as I mentioned earlier, we are starting on the intermediate tyre, so it is raining but just spitting, possibly for about 15 minutes, and then we head into a dry race where there's a 13% chance of rain for the rest of the Grand Prix. So, didn't miss too much. We didn't have a change at the top of the leaderboard anyway, so Honesy is in P1, Stein in P2, Mark of Kenya P3, PhD Vengeance, the Australian, in P4, Domili P5, Kchiao P6, Kalirod P7, Dace P8, NRL Ben P9, so 3 Americans, Lionel Stern 789, Garud the Portuguese in P10, Toss in P11 with Stuart Little P12, McLaren 11-12, Yerdy P13, Viet P14, Exotic P15, Mr. Woot P16. So 16 drivers, all on the intermediate tyres, and we're going to see how long those intermediate tyres last before they do start going off. Are they going to make it to the end of the rain? Let's see. So let's hope my internet holds out. Let's hope the lobby holds out. So we get away on the formation lap. As I mentioned before, it is a 23 turn track, looking at a race lap of about 1:45, I believe. In the intermediate tyres we're looking more at about 2 minutes, possibly a 55, between 1:55 and 2 minutes. So, strategy, it is saying the inters will last about 15 laps, so that should see us to the end of the rain stint before we go into the soft tyres. So soft tyres, but slick tyres, should I say. So Hainsey P1. McLaren are currently leading the Constructors' Championship with 44 points. They had a P1, P2, a 1-2 last week in Bahrain. But they're starting in P11 and P12 today, so they've got a lot of ground to catch up if they want to open up the gap in the Constructors. Kchiao still has to find some form on this new series of the game. He is obviously the champ, as he likes to call himself, the Mickey Mouse champ, as he called himself earlier on in the Discord, in the Haas. Teammates with Dace. Drivers to look out for today, I'm definitely going to say Honesy and Stein. They do like street tracks. They are very fast drivers, so they're going to be fighting for the win. Wet weather, though, is the great leveller, so let's see what happens. Safety cars come out way too often on this year's game. Even we, SFR, the league I co-run, is set on standard safety car, but even on reduced it comes out way more often than it should do. So I'm expecting to see a lot of safety cars, a lot of ESCs today. So we're going to have a long race ahead of us, I believe. As they all come round the last couple of corners on this formation lap, everyone's made it round without spinning around. Kchiao loves a formation lap spin, but he is still in P6, and he keeps his P6 as they all enter the grid. So Honesy is just lining up in his grid box now. Stein as well. We've got a Mercedes on the second row of PhD Vengeance lining up behind Stein, and Mark of Kenya lining up behind Honesy. So as we wait for Mr. Woot to join on the last row in his Red Bull, we are going to have 5 lights, and we're going to be go in Singapore. So the lights are going. Here we go. 5 lights, they're out, and we are going in Singapore. The Alpine moves out of the way of everybody, and Honesy gets a clear run into turn 1. Mark of Kenya, as he already mentioned, gets amazing starts, and he did, but he does take a bit of liberties there with the track limits. We do have someone off. It looks like it's Dace is facing backwards at turn 1. Damage as well, so that's going to impact his race. He's going to have to come around and box and come into the pit lane. So Holmesy kept P1, Marco Kenya gained a position into P2. Let's have a look at position changes, shall we? Position changes. We have Kali Rob lost 6 positions, Garud gained 4, Kachau has gained 1. Garud, car number 69, following Kachau very, very closely with PhD Vengeance, who lost 3 positions on the start, down into P7. Both McLarens gained 2, Viet gained 3, Exotic gained 3, Kali Rob, as I said before, lost 6, and Yerdy lost 1, Wisterboot gained 1, and Dace, biggest loser, lost 8 positions, and he will have to go round and pit again. So no safety cars just yet, which is very interesting, and it looks pretty much like all the gaps are there. Garud is making a move onto NRL Kachau. He's going to try around the outside. He's going to get squished into that wall there, and that's not the place you want to be. Kachau goes a bit wide. Garud tries to switch back, but yeah, he ended up just having to... We have a first DNF of the race. It's Viet. Viet is out of the race, and he came to blows. And we got a VSC, which could be upgraded to a full safety car, as Viet was in that wall. Cornet got stuck in that wall a few years ago. It basically just jumped up and bit him. So still under VSC rules. I think this VSC won't be changing into a safety car. It will stay as VSC. Drivers have got to really watch their delta time, or else it could be a huge... Got a glitch leaderboard for some reason. Fantastic. So we'll wait for this to all settle down until I know what's going on. Holmesy is still in the lead with Mark of Kenya in second. Stein in third. Domi Lee in fourth. So we're going to wait for this to just settle down for a minute before we before I can confirm everything. 3 drivers in the pit lane. We have Exotic, we have Yerdy, and we have Dace is just entering the pit lane now. Viet's left the session. Bye bye Viet. Unfortunately, yeah, you got caught out at that right hand turn. Very easy to get caught out there, especially in the dry, let alone in the wet when you get a lot of understeer. And it does, if you do touch the inside curb, it will throw you across. So we are racing, we are green again. For some drivers who would have wished that VSC had have turned into a full safety car, which are the 3 drivers at the back, Exotic, Yerdy and Dace. But it didn't, and they're going to have to hold out hope another safety car will come along in the lines. We've already had 1 VSC, let's see how many more we get. Holmesy still leading the race, Marco Kenya P2, Stein's at P3. Other than that, it is saying drivers are 1 lap down, so I can't check the intervals to see what battles are going on, but Domi Lee is very close up behind the back of Stein. He's going to try around the outside here. Doesn't quite get his nose ahead, so he has to pull out, back off, and filter back in behind Stein. So currently Stein is P3, the last spot on the podium. Domi Lee is pushing him very, very, very hard to try and get that podium position back. Garud just behind NRL Kachau still. PhD Vengeance is following them. Toss the Cave is a few seconds back. Stuart Little behind his teammate, so they might see what the pace is after a few laps. They might end up switching positions. Ben not too far behind. Kali Rob in P11, Mr. Woot in P12. Haynes is fast lap of the race, so 1:58. So I mentioned that between 55 and 2 minutes was going to be the kind of lap times we were looking at. So Marco Kenya currently 1.4 seconds behind Holmesy. Holmesy, all he has to do is just drive nicely, get his and get the car to the end of the race. Stein and Domi Lee still fighting hard. DRS not enabled yet. It will be when the rain does die down. You can always tell when it's time for slick tyres, because DRS will be enabled by the race director, and when that happens it is time for slicks. Still looking pretty wet out there, still raining, so it's not going to be that time yet. Crossover, Stein is normally pretty good at the crossover points of that, and PhD Vengeance is fighting very hard with Garud, who's dropped back from Kachau a little bit, not too much, but he was about as far close as what PhD Vengeance was to Kachau, and now PhD Vengeance is right on Garud's gearbox, and Garud does pick up a bit more pace actually, so he is chasing down Kachau. Overtaking spot here, maybe it's, you got to make an insane dive and hope that the other driver does back off and help you out there. So we've still got Exotic, Yerdy and Day still bringing up the rear. and there is Mr. Root as well, who is trying to catch up at the back of the pack. He's lost a bit of ground to Cali Rob. Mark of Kenya is still in that 1.3. He's gaining a little bit, maybe a tenth or two a lap. So we'll see if Mark of Kenya can chase it down. But he has just lost 2 tenths in that little section there, so maybe not. Domi Lee is going to be fighting Stein very, very hard to get past. Stein is still clinging on to that P3. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2, but it's already gone. Can't see where that is. So it's cleared. It's cleared. We're all good. Good to race. Holmes is the fastest lap, 1:54.031, so goes 1.8 seconds faster than his previous. Stein is 2.7 seconds behind the driver in front. And let's have a look at the gap. So Dace is unfortunately a minute behind everybody after getting into some trouble at the race start. Yerdy 56 seconds behind, so with Exotic 43, and Mr. Wu already a pit stop behind Hainsey, 26 seconds off. Fastest lap so far, so Mark Kenya's not too far off Hainsey's fastest lap, so he's got some pace today. Both in the 54s, and then we've got the minute 55s. And Dace and Yerdy both haven't set a time under 2 minutes 23 seconds so far. So let's have a look at some gaps, see if we can find any on-track battles. Domi Lee is probably the closest one, which is with him and Stein. He's probably going to be getting a bit frustrated, stuck behind Stein, because it looks like Domi Lee does have more pace than what Stein does. But Stein is very much entitled to his P3. Domi Lee's going to have to make the overtake happen at some point. Stein obviously lost a position at the start, and he's now dropping off from Marco Kenya. He's 2.8 seconds behind him. So his battle is with Domi Lee right now. Domi Lee was going to have a look at the inside there, but doesn't. Thinks better of it. Filters back in behind, and they're running pretty close together right now. There's 3 cars running quite close together as well, just behind them, 2 seconds behind them, which is Kachao, Garud, and PHG Vengeance. NRL Ben has overtaken Stuart Little, so it's currently a McLaren sandwich for the Alpine. Toss up into P8. Stuart Little in P10, and NRL Ben. Hainsey goes another 2 tenths fast. This is a 53.995. Stein is starting to find some pace in these conditions. Starting to drop Domi Lee a little bit, and he goes fastest. So Stein could start catching up to the back of Marco Kenya very soon, and he could be looking to make an overtake and catch up with Hainsey. Marco Kenya is just staying out, probably just outside the dirty air. It looks like it may well have stopped raining. Yes, I think it probably has. Still a bit wet, still a bit of spray on the track, but I can't see any rain falling. I think it might have stopped raining. We could be starting to see some drivers maybe risking a slick tyre, and we could have full racing conditions very, very soon, going all flat out. Dominic is starting to catch back up to Stein. Stein may have made a little bit of a mistake, because it looks like he has dropped a bit from Mark of Kenya again. Other on-track battles, Vengeance is only 6 tenths behind Garud. Once the track does dry out, we could have a few more on-track battles. At the minute, the gaps are pretty standard. Stuart is trying to chase down NRL Ben and overtake, but it's going to have to be patient through here. You've got to be a lot closer than that to make a move up the inside. Probably the best overtaking spot is to try and go up the inside there, but it is very, very risky, as I mentioned before. If you do go too close to that wall, your rear wheel will hit that, and you will be spinning around. Really has caught back up with Stein. Oh, he must be getting so frustrated, stuck behind there. I think he probably thinks, every driver thinks they're faster than one another, and Domi Lee at the minute is probably thinking, I'm faster than you, Stein, let me pass, but Stein holding firm as they come round into the last. Oh, a bit of a bang on the wall there, I think, from Kachao. I think he's alright. He is starting to drop Garud a little bit and starting to drive his own race, which is probably he's quite thankful for, as Domi Lee looked to make a move but didn't. Hainsey is in the pit lane. He is the first driver to go on to slick tyres. He's put the medium tyres on. He thinks it's time. So let's see however the other drivers do. We also have Toss putting the medium tyres on. We have NRL Ben coming in the pits. We have Stuart Little in the pits. So he might have got held up a little bit there by Toss the Caber. So 5 drivers? Yes, 5 drivers who have pitted to put on the medium tyres. So let's see what their lap times are like. So Marco Kenya now is leading the race. Domi Lee is very close behind, and Garud and PhD Vengeance are going wheel to wheel in this very tight section of the track. They do come together a little bit there, and then I think PhD Vengeance may have just got a bit overexcited at the thought of overtaking. Maybe should have backed out a little bit, but then it is racing. You can't. You see a gap, you want to go for it. And sometimes you do have to think a little bit further ahead. Not sure if Garud there. I need to see the footage again, but we can't. We don't have replay facilities on this broadcast thing. So we've got a few other drivers who have pitted. Mr. Woops pitted to put the hard tyre on. Exotics pitted to put the mediums, and so is Yerdy. So they're both risking it. And Dace is in the pit lane again, and he puts the mediums on as well. So Mr. Woops looking to go a bit further into the Grand Prix than everybody else. He's on the medium tyre. The yellow flag in Sector 1, it looks like that could have been Yerdy coming out the pits. I think it possibly was. So let's go back to the front of the grid. Let's see what Mark of Kenya's going to do. He's coming round. Is he going to think it's time for medium tyres? He looks like he's coming into the pits, yes. So let's see where Holmesy is on track. He's coming around the last, I think. His pace must have been pretty good. It looks like he is going to overtake Mark again. Yellow flag Sector 3. I think that was on the pit entry. I think we might have had a pit entry crash. As Holmesy takes P1 of the Grand Prix. Marco Kenya in the pit lane. He's getting held up. I think he was alright. I think he just managed to get out ahead. Stein coming out. We've got loads of cars coming out. Vengeance put on the hard tyre. Garud put on the mediums. And Stein and Dominique both put softs on. So we've got a huge range of drivers using different... it looked like he might have cut the exit of the pit lane there. Kachau. So Toss has made a huge undercut on Kachau. Toss is now up to P5. Domi Lee is still just behind Stein. We could be having DRS is open, it looks like. So Domi Lee going up the inside of Stein. At the end of Casino, Stein hangs around the outside, keeps that position, keeps the inside for the next corner. And they do have a bit of a coming together, bit of wheel banging, bit of oversteer, but Domi Lee gets the move done. Domi Lee's now going to try and get ahead as Tosakabe is looking to join the battle as well. He is going to look to try and go up the inside of Stein, but does back off there. So Domi Lee is now going to set out to try and chase down Marco Kenya, use these fresh tyres. Holmesy had about an 8-second undercut there, so the slick tyres are worth about 8 seconds. So Marco Kenya already 12 seconds behind, and Domi Lee a further 3 seconds behind that. So look at the gaps. NRL Kachau probably fuming that he is now stuck behind Toss. Toss has done him in the pits. Big brain time for Toss the Caber. Pits on that lap, and yeah, he is ahead. He's put him ahead of a few drivers, overtaken probably like at least two cars. Only says a 141.813, so those medium tyres are flying. So let's have a run with Hainsey for a minute. He is leader of the Grand Prix, driving his own race, and he can use however much ERS he wants. He can fuel save, he can lift and coast, he can try and get those tyres as far into the Grand Prix as he possibly can. Other gaps in the race, Stein is still keeping up with Domi, so it was a good move for Domi to get ahead. So Domi can now try and open up the gap a little bit, but Stein is sticking with him. Toss is dropping back a little bit from Stein. He's now 1.2 seconds behind. Chow is very, very close. He's got his DRS open. He's going to go for the move up the inside. Is Toss going to give way? Yes, he does. Toss does give way. Let's Kachau pass, but Kachau's very, very, very squirrely there, and just about manages to keep it on the track. So Kachau now rounding this corner here as he heads down to where the old Singapore Slim was. He's weaving a bit there. I'm not sure if he was saying thank you, but who knows. NRL Ben is only half a second behind Toss the Caber. He's going to be looking to use his DRS up this next straight and the exit of the hairpin. Got to get a good exit here. DRS is opened up, and we're going to see if he does make a move. The straight is not quite long enough to get. You've got to be very, very close in the exit and get a good exit as well as that to try and get close. So Holmesy's opened up another half-second gap on Mark of Kenya. Dummy Lee's pulling away from Stein as Holmesy sets the fastest up of the race to 1:38.892, so we're actually going faster than I predicted we would be. Ben is 6 tenths behind, Stuart Little in P8, so McLaren's 6.8 at the minute rather than 1.2 last week. Vengeance has dropped back a bit, but he has got the hard tyres on, so he's not really in anybody's race at the minute. He's going to be going quite far in and trying to limit his amount of pit stops he's going to have to make, and if there is safety cars, then all is good. Giroud sets the fastest lap, he goes a 1:38.412. Lost a few positions in those pit stop phases though, probably put it a little bit too late. Dace gained a position on Yerdy, so Dace is now P14, Yerdy P15. Penalties wise, a few penalties coming in a bit thick and fast now. 3 seconds, 3 seconds, 3 seconds all for Dace, Stewart and Vengeance, and Yerdy unfortunately is caught speeding in the pit lane, so he's got 5 seconds. Stein 6 tenths behind Dommy Lee. It's right on board with Stein in Stein's cockpit. Let's see what he has got. Stay on the tyres. He's going to be trying to get as close as he possibly can under the bridge and into the heavy braking zone for the hairpin to try and get a good exit onto the straight with his DRS open and see if he can make a move. A yellow flag in sector 2. It is a Haas, I believe, and it's Kachow. He's going backwards. Kachow's been not sure if he was punted, made a mistake, but 3 laps too late for a Kachow spin. Someone predicted he would spin on lap 6, but it's actually lap 9. So Haas aren't having the greatest of races at the minute. Both drivers at the points in P11 and P14. No damage for Kachow? Yes, there is damage. He's got a wing, an end plate missing, so he's got to hope that he's going to have to pit again soon. Yellow flag in sector 3. It looks like it's the pit entry. It's Yerdy. He has got no front wing at all. He's got to try and stay off the racing line as the drivers come past. So he's had an incident, unfortunately, about the same place he had an incident last year, I believe, or maybe it was another driver. I can't quite remember who it was. So Yerdy has got no front wing. He's going to have to drive around all minute and a half of this track before he gets back into the pit lane to replace his front wing. So not a great day. Our commentator's curse at the beginning of the race, saying he's in the form of his life. This is not a form of his life kind of race. As Stein goes up the inside, looks at Dommy Lee up the inside, cuts a bit of that corner there. Very lucky not to get any kind of warning or penalty. He tries to hang around the outside. Dommy Lee giving plenty of space, and Stein has got the inside line for this next corner. Stein goes up the inside. Dommy Lee is sticking with him, but Stein's going to have the inside for the next left-hander, and Dommy Lee just filters him back behind. So Stein is obviously, Dommy Lee came out of the pits very, very aggressively. Now, unfortunately, Chow has he's left the session. Chow is retired, I believe. Chow is out. And yeah, he's that's his race is run. So 1 Haas and 1 AlphaTauri is out. I think it might be AI though. I don't know if Kachow is actually retired properly. He's just quit. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on his ghost. Got a penalty for crossing the white line pit and exit. So yeah, unfortunately, I think he might be a bit angry. A bit angry right now. Let's check the Discord. There's not really much going on in the race. Dommy Lee P4. Vengeance in P8. Currently trying to close up behind onto the back of Stuart Little. We've got the DRS to try and gain a little bit of time here. We then have Cali Rob and Giroud looking interested. Mr. Woot 29 seconds further back on the hard tyres, which will go quite far into the race. Yerdy, unfortunately, has picked up another penalty, another 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So this is just not his race, and he has retired from the session, which I assumed was going to be coming because just unfortunately, just not one of those races for him today. Vengeance currently nearly 2 tenths, should I say, up on his fastest lap, and he is really going to start putting the pressure on the back of Stuart Little, with Cali Rob looking to pick up any scraps he possibly can to try and get him a bit higher into the points. Ben is only 7 tenths behind Toss the Caber. He's going to be looking to make a nice braking zone into here, into the hairpin. But let's ride back on board with Stuart and Vengeance and Cali Rob, see what they've both got each other. So it does turn into a bit of a DRS train, unfortunately, when you have got more than 2 cars in a line, as yeah, unfortunately they can the DRS just isn't powerful enough for anyone behind to make an overtake, because everyone else in front of you just got DRS as well. So Stewart's going to have the lap couple of corners of his life here to try and keep Vengeance behind. Vengeance obviously on the hard tyres, which are slower than the tyres that Stuart Little has got on, but they do last a lot longer. So that's the thing that Stuart has to think about. The driver behind of him has got longer durable tyres, but he is on faster ones, so he's going to have to open up the pace a little bit to try and get as far away from him as possible. But Vengeance is sticking with him. He is only 4 tenths behind. Cali Rob unfortunately has just picked up a 3-second time penalty, so that's going to impact him later on in the race. You've got to hope that other drivers do as well. Stuart Little has got 3 seconds, so has Vengeance. So all 3 drivers in this little group have got 3 seconds. So this is the longest DRS straight of the track. Best place for overtaking is at the end of this straight into the braking zone, but Cali Rob is looking to go up the inside. No, thinks better of it. So we'll have had to make a bit of a dive bomb there, which is not what we like to see in online league racing. Online lobbies, fair enough, make all the dive bombs you like, doesn't matter, but in league racing it's not something that is tolerated, because a dive bomb is a dive bomb. You've got to be, a dive bomb, you just got to hope that the other driver ahead of you just gets out of the way. So we're lap 12 of 31 races. Who's this in the pit lane? Dace has just retired from the race, having an awful race himself, so both Hasses are out. Kachow is currently running under AI, so yeah, that's that. Fortunately the stewards will look into that, and yeah, they will do their bits. So, Ben is only 3 tenths behind Toss the Caper. He's going to make him look at making a move up the inside. Does, gets the move done before the braking zone, and gets ahead of Toss the Caper. So now McLaren are running line astern in P6 and P7. We've got Alpines leading in P4 and P5. Williams of Mark of Kenya, who is dropping a little bit to Holmesy, but not massively, but just running his own race. He's got a gap of 4 seconds to Stein behind him. Tommy Lee is starting to drop from Stein as well. Stein is starting to pull away from them both. So not many on-track battles. Exotic has just overtaken Mr. Woot. And he's got DRS as well, so Mr. Woot won't be able to make a comeback into that corner. And Exotic goes, moves up into P11. So currently 13 drivers on track, 12 technically, as Kachow has left the session. Currently running AI. Ben looks like he's starting to pull away from Toss the Cable as well. Vengeance still stuck behind the train, that is Stuart Little. All aboard the Stuart Little train. He's known for forming trains, but he's only 2 here, maybe 4 if you count Garud and Cali Rob into that as well, but they are 2 seconds further back. Stuart is doing a bit of trying to get rid of the DRS. His tyres might be starting to feel a little bit... we've got 6 laps old here, 7 laps old now, so Vengeance is going to start coming into this race with his harder, more durable, hard tyres. He's going to make to look a move at some point. He's going to have to get it done soon. DRS is open. Looks like he's got the inside line on Stuart. Yes, he does. Stuart does filter back in. He's not going to be able to fight that back. The PHG Vengeance does move up into P7. He's going to be looking to chase down Ben, whose medium tyres are also the same age as Stuart Little's there. So we'll see what Vengeance kind of pace Vengeance has got, if he can try and close the gap. At the minute it's 5 seconds. We'll see what that gap comes down to shortly. So that is about it for on track. Cali Rob is not far behind Garud. There's not a lot else going on. It's quite a boring Singapore League race, which is very unfortunate. Because normally the races we've done so far this season have all been pretty much bangers with safety cars left, right and centre. But at the minute we've had one VSC in a 15-lap race. So we're halfway through. Wheel banging between Cali... Oh! That could be a safety car right there. Cali Rob absolutely lost his braking point, and we've got a full course safety car. Wow, Dommy Lee is also out. Where was Dommy Lee? Out of the race. Dommy Lee is out at that corner there. So Cali Rob and Dommy Lee basically crashed down at the same time. To Vengeance, this is where he comes into his own. He's on these hard tyres, they can last a lot longer. And he comes out in the lead of the race, I believe. No, he's up to P... He could be leading this race. He's had to gone past the safety car. And we've got Honesy and Mark of Kenya. Who have probably already gone past the pit lane before they could pit. So they've still got to pit. Vengeance is... How many seconds is behind Vengeance? Let's have a look. He's 35 seconds. So Honesy might have enough time to get in and out the pits before Vengeance could come back round. But that was an absolute send there from Cali Rob. And yeah, so we've got NRL Ben, Stuart Little and Garoud who've all put on the hard tyres. Stein and Toss have put on fresh mediums. Exotic and Mr. Woot have put on fresh mediums. And let's see what Honesy and Mark of Kenya do. We also have 16 laps left. Mediums could make it to the end, but I wouldn't be so sure. I would imagine that a hard tyre would make it to the end. So, curse of the commentator there. We lost 2 drivers in 1 lap after I've just saying it was quite a boring race. And we hadn't had any safety cars yet, so there we go. Going to lose a few laps here under the safety car. Honesy is coming into the pits. He's boxing. Box. Puts on a fresh set of mediums. He's going to try and get those tyres to the end. Mark of Kenya is just joining the pit lane. Looked a little bit strange coming in the pits there. Possibly had to avoid a wall. So he's coming into the pits. He's got to go all the way down to the end of the pit lane, as Williams is the last pit lane at the end of the thing, and he puts on medium tyres as well. So Vengeance is coming all very squirrely on there. He's looking to make at least one more move, and he does overtake Mark of Kenya. So currently Vengeance on 8-lap-old hards compared to Honesy's 0-lap-old mediums. But I mentioned this earlier, if there was a safety car, Vengeance was in a good position. So he is currently in P2. Mark of Kenya P3. Steinsap drops down to P4. Toss in P5. Ben in P6. Stuart Little in P7. Garoud in P8. Exotic in P9. Mr. Woot in P10. And Kachow P11. So while we have the safety car period, we're going to be taking a very quick commercial break. Right, so we're back. Safety car is coming in this lap. Holmesy is the leader of the pack. Mark of Kenya, why is he back ahead of Vengeance? It's interesting. What, he's got 5 seconds, 8 seconds, so maybe they touched. I'm not sure. Vengeance currently in P3 then, Mark of Kenya P2. We're going to be starting the race again very shortly. All the drivers have been backed up. Holmesy bolts. So let's go. We're back racing. We're going to be going green very soon. As you come around the final corner, we are green. Holmesy got a great restart there. Stein is going to try and make a move at the inside of Vengeance, but doesn't. And Holmesy is already a second clear of Mark of Kenya. Stein, P4. Tosakaba P5, and I'm just hearing, hang on a minute, I'm just hearing that McLaren have fuel issues. Both cars are heavily underfueled. Yes, you can see the fuel warning light is already on. So McLaren's, we're expecting some more safety cars, and they're going to struggle to make it to the end of the race, I believe, from what I've heard. Stein looking up the inside of Vengeance, but does back out, and Vengeance is already being dropped a little bit by Mark of Kenya, and Holmesy is dropping both of them. Already 1.8 seconds clear of Mark of Kenya. We've got a move there. Garud on... Exotic, sorry, on Garud, so he moves up a position. Stuart Little. Fuel warning light, and Garud goes into the back there of Kachau, who is a ghosted car. So he might not have got any damage. No, it was into the back of Exotic there. So, yeah, Garud's being quite aggressive with his driving today and looking to make some moves. Stein still behind Vengeance. He's going to be looking to make a move, use those advantages he's got off the fresh medium tyres compared to Vengeance's 10-lap-old mediums. Holmesy fastest up at the race, 1:36.498, and he's dropped Mark of Kenya by 2.2 seconds. Very squirrely on the exit there for Vengeance. And Stein makes a move at the inside and gets it done. Took advantage of Vengeance's squirreliness, and we have Garud off at turn 1. I believe he has just deliberately driven into that wall. I believe he's just driven into that wall. I've got that on stream. Okay. So. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Tosakaba, 3/10 behind PhD Vengeance now. Looking to make a move. Is he going to be able to get it done into the braking zone? No. Tries to go around the outside and do the switch back. And we will see what comes of it. Exotic was looking to make a move on the Stuart Little train. That Alfa Romeo looks absolutely gorgeous in the under the lights of Singapore. Gets a 3-second time penalty, as I mentioned earlier. If you stay too long on the exit of that corner, you will unfortunately get yourself a time penalty. So currently 9 real-life drivers are driving around the track. And Wagwan, Famalam, Zach Sweeney as well. Wagwan, Jamaica, Wagwan. Toss is losing a bit of time to Vengeance, and Vengeance picks up a 3-second time penalty, so he's now up to 13 seconds. That is going to, sorry, 11 seconds. I can't do quick maths. So yeah, Vengeance is got 11 seconds. He goes up the inside and doesn't push him, but runs him out of room there. So Toss moves up into P4. He's 2 seconds off a podium place of Stein's up just ahead. Mark of Kenya's got 5 seconds of time penalty, so he's going to have to start catching up a little bit to try and get Mark of Kenya's podium position. Underfueled though, so he's got to watch out. He's got to lift and coast and try and possibly hope that that car will make it to the end with the fuel that he has got in him. Vengeance is starting to drop back a little bit now, unfortunately, so his hard tyre strategy looked like it could work out, but obviously with drivers all around him on the fresher sets of tyres, it was always going to be difficult. Exotic is 4/10 behind. I just love when that car goes under one of those floodlights. That red shines, it glimmers. It looks absolutely beautiful on that oval, especially with the white. Yeah, we've got Ben, Stuart and Exotic and Mr. Woot all in this train. So we'll see. It's not even the Stuart Little train today. It's the NRL Ben train. Formerly Tiny Darth Spike is all boarded a train, and we are headed to Nowhereville. In Stuart Little's case, he's got DRS, so maybe Stuart can look to make a move. He's not going to be quite close enough. No, he's not. It did look like he might have a little look at one point down the straight, but thought better of it, and he's going to have to filter him back in behind and hope that he can stay close enough to try and get a move done. Let's have a look at tyres. Ben's on 5-lap old hard, Stuart Little's on 5-lap old hards, and the Exotic just behind. He is going to have to start utilising those fresh mediums and try and get ahead. Obviously I've heard from the pit wall that McLaren are underfueled. So for those of you listening, driving, watching, McLaren are underfueled. So let's see what is gonna happen. I know, look at Toss in P4. I mentioned that. He messaged me before the race saying he was about 2 seconds off the pace, but he's there. He's in P4 and he's got a chance of a podium with driver penalties. So won the race last week and currently in P4, championship leader, I believe. Or was it Stuart who won the race? I'm pretty sure it's Toss who won the race last week. It was Toss. So yeah, he's having a good race today. He's having a good race. Not many other battles on track. Still the train. Stuart is getting a taste of his own medicine. What he likes to do to people, he's having done to himself. But he is looking pretty close. Get this braking zone right, get the exit right, and he is going to have to try and make a move. Exotic looked a lot closer there, but Stuart's got DRS ahead of him. He's not going to get the overspeed. Mr. Woot does try and pull out there, but doesn't quite do it. So, that is that for another lap. Stuart's going to be stuck behind Ben for another lap. Exotic stuck behind Stuart for another lap, and Mr. Woot stuck behind Exotic for another lap. So at the minute, if all drivers finish, they will get points, apart from Kachow, who decided to leave us and not rejoin, unfortunately. So yeah, he's in a bit of a bad place right now. Not enjoying this year's game, as far as I'm aware. But that's it. There's no other battles on track apart from the train. Exotic looks very close to Stuart Little there as I left him, but yeah, he still is behind. Not sure if he tried to make a move under DRS there, but didn't quite make it done. Stuart's been dropped by Ben there, so Ben is starting to pull away, and we have Exotic who's made a mistake. Has he got any damage? Let's see. No, it looks like he hasn't got any damage, but he has dropped behind Mr. Woot now. So Mr. Woot putting the pressure on. Exotic crumbled. And he must have damage. He's coming into the pit lane. Doesn't look like he's got anything, but he's in the pits. Slows himself down just about enough. No penalties there for him. So what's he going to be doing right now? Woot is catching up to Stuart Little. Stuart Little. Oh, very twitchy there. Let's have a watch of what Exotic is doing. He's having a new front wing, so he did have damage. He's putting the soft tyres on. They should make it to the end. Tyre temperatures in Singapore can be pretty bad. So he's going to have to watch out for that, but he's got a fresh front wing and he's not going anywhere. There he is. Oh, whoa, teleported halfway down the pit lane. As I say that. So that's it. The only gap under a second is still Mr. Woot on Stuart Little. So let's ride on board with these guys, because that is about it. Honesy is leading the race by nearly 4 seconds. Mark of Kenya's got 5-second time penalty. Stein's app is 3 seconds further back off Mark of Kenya. with no penalties. Toss is in P4, and he's picked up a penalty in the time I've last seen him. Toss has 3 seconds, Vengeance has 11, Stewart has 6, Exotic has 3 now. Woot has none, so that will bring Woot up at least 1 position at the end of the race. He doesn't have to make the overtake, but he might want to. See if he can catch up with Ben. Is Vengeance going to make another pit stop? He's still got 7 laps left of the race. He's going to be on 23... Yeah, about 23 lap old hards by the end of the race. So he's going to have to try and nurse these tyres to the end, because they might be feeling a little bit worse for wear now, let alone in 7 laps time. Car number 19, Exotic, is coming into the last sector now. Very tight, twisty section of the racetrack. So let's say 24 laps in, Honesy's winning the race, Kenya's in 2, Stein in 3. Mr. Wu has got the move done on Stewart. Stewart's going to try and fight back, but Mr. Wu has got that move done. So the train has now become the back end of the train. It's falling off the rails, isn't it, Stewart? It's gone backwards, being backed into the station. The Fat Controller had seen enough, and he's pushed Thomas out of his misery and stuck him back in the back on Sodor into the train garage, whatever you want to call it. I don't even know what it's called. Ben's starting to pull away, and Mr. Woot 2.5 seconds. So there is no on-track battles now, unless Stewart can make another move back on Mr. Woot. Let's see what he's got. Has he got anything for Mr. Woot to be worried about? I don't think he has just yet. He's already lost 6-7 tenths on this lap alone. We're in the last in the middle sector, so he should be pretty much that. Stein looks like he might be making a comeback onto the back of Mark of Kenya. Gained 1.5 seconds in the last few laps, so we'll keep an eye on that, see if that gap comes down. We'll see if anything happens here, and see if Stewart can make a move back on Mr. Woot. DRS is open. He won't have it for much longer unless, as like we've heard before, the McLarens are running on low on fuel. I've heard from the number 1 driver and team principal of McLaren personally patched me into the communication line. DRS is open for Stewart, but I don't think he's going to be quite close enough. He's 8 tenths behind, and he doesn't look like he's gaining massively. A couple of tenths here, a couple of tenths there down this straight, from 8 tenths down to 5 tenths, so yeah, not quite enough. Needs to be a lot closer than that to make the move work. Stein is really starting to close down now on Mark of Kenya, so we will look out for this. Toss is outside the window to take Mark of Kenya's podium, so Mark of Kenya just has to drive nicely. Even left, Stein passed, so he doesn't battle too much and bring Toss the Caper back in to contention for his podium position, because obviously Mark Kenny's got 5 and Toss has got 3 seconds, so Toss needs to be within a window of 2 seconds of Mark of Kenya to get the move done. So MOK, Mark of Kenya, all he has to do is just if Stein does get onto the back of him, he is really starting to gain now. This gap was 4 seconds earlier and is now down to 1.5, so that's going to be a back of Mark of Kenya's head as he drives round the first 1, 2 and 3 corners. Stein will be in his DRS very soon, and he will be trying to get ahead of him. Stein wants as many points as he possibly can. Honesy, 5 seconds up the road, having a nice easy race. He is using a lot of ERS up though. It is very hard to recirculate and harvest the ERS here. I will say that. It always has been, always will be. Woot is on the back of Ben now. Woot is flying. He was 2.5 seconds behind. He's dropped Stewart by 2 seconds, so Mr. Woot is flying at the minute, and he could be there providing us with some in-game entertainment today. Mr. Woot is looking to be the only driver to be making overtakes. Keep an eye on Stein's gap. It's levelled out about 1.5 seconds, 1.6 seconds now, so he might make another move in a couple of laps time to regain his ERS. Mr. Woot is sat behind Ben. in the Alpine. Ben thought he got away from this little group, but no, the group has caught back up with him. When I say group, just one. Woot's going to be in his DRS now, down this straight, but it's not quite long enough. You've got to be very close. We have a yellow flag in sector 2. It is... it was Exotic. I think he must have made a bit of a mistake. Let's see if he got any... such a bad camera angle sometimes. Wish you could just select what camera angle you want the whole time. But no, yellow flag in sector 3. Who's this? We've got... oh no! Mark of Kenya is out of the race! Mark of Kenya is out of the race. We have a full course safety car for the last 5 laps. What on earth happened to Mark of Kenya as we round the last corner? Must have touched that inside and outside curb. And Kenya is out, which moves Toss the caber. And Vengeance doesn't pit. Vengeance doesn't pit. What is he doing? He needs to go in the pits to put these new tyres on. Ben moves up to P5. He's going to put a fresh set of tyres on. He's got 5 seconds to serve. I think he's just picked that up as well, so he won't serve it in this pit stop. He's going to have to pick it up later. Stuart is in the pits as well with the soft tyres. I'm not sure why Vengeance didn't pit just then. He should have done. But we'll see what comes of it in a second when they all come back round. See if he does think about it on this lap, put some fresh tyres on, because he is on pretty worn tyres. And I jinxed it. I just realised I jinxed it again. Marco Kenya said I jinxed the last safety car, and I've jinxed it again when I said all Marco Kenya has to do is drive nicely. Yeah, Marco Kenya's made his first mistake. So Mr. Woot has gained 11 positions. 11 positions. What tyres is everybody on? Are they any who? And he's put fresh softs on as well. He's going to be tasty. When all the drivers ahead of him are on worn mediums and worn hards, Mr. Woot is on fresh softs. He looks like he's got good pace. I think Mr. Woot could be on for a podium position here. McLarens are heavily under fuel. They've still got 1.5 laps to make up, so they've got to hope that the safety car stays out for at least a few more laps though. So 8 finishes so far, or 8 human finishes. My money is on a Mr. Woot podium. That's what my money's on. We've lost Mark of Kenya very recently. Garud, self-imposed DNF, could have retired on the track, but no, he decided to slam it into the wall. Domi Lee, we lost. Cali Rob we lost. Dace we lost, Yerdy we lost, and Viet. Viet went very early on those intermediate tyres. Vengeance is still not pitting. Only driver. I think he's already made a mistake in the past. Oh, not a mistake. It was pretty good, actually. I will admit. It was pretty good, him staying out. But he's now the leader of the race. But he is on... No, he's not. He's P2. I do apologise. He is on 20-lap-old hards. He's not pitting. He's going to stay out. He's going to try and get... He's got 11 seconds worth of penalties, so at the minute this is going to drop him all the way to the back of the grid. I don't think we're going to have long enough for everybody to join the back. I think the safety car might be coming in this lap, so they're all going to have to catch up pretty quick if they want to join this race. Exotic especially. Exotic is miles back. And he's in the pits as well, so unfortunately I think his race is run. Stein in P3 with fresh softs. Everyone has got fresh softs on, apart from Vengeance. Vengeance is going to be, unfortunately, a sitting duck with his 11 seconds worth of penalties as well. Mr. Woot up into P4 now. I believe we're going to be seeing the safety car in this lap signal very, very shortly. So the drivers in... yeah, Mr. Woot is just about to join the back of this pack, and both McLarens are going to be joining it as well. If it's not in this lap, it will definitely be in next lap, but I believe... So we're going to have about a 2-lap shootout. Because I couldn't see if it did flash up to say it was coming in, so... It doesn't look like Holmesy's backing off either. So I think it will be staying out for another lap. Yep, it's staying out one more lap under safety car conditions, so Exotic is going to get the chance to catch back up, as are both McLarens, and the McLarens will get the chance to... well, Stewart looks like his fuel is back to normal. It's only Toss who has got a yellow fuel pump right now, so Toss is still horribly, horribly underfueled. We'll see what happens to him come the end of the race. This probably has saved him, but we are going to have a 2-lap sprint. Talk about sprint races. We're going to be seeing some meaty overtakes coming up very shortly. Or in Stuart Little's word, some girthy overtakes. It's not a girthy track, it's a very chode-like track. Very narrow, very small. Don't know why I just went down that route. I did. I said it. There. Don't cancel me. And Stuart Little is now back in the green. It's just his stupid teammate, the Scotsman. The Scots are... the Scots are pretty silly. They do deep fry their Mars bars, and they do horribly underfuel their cars in a league race around Singapore. Yes, Mark Kenya, yes, I did say it. Yeah. You know, France is girthy, and Singapore is chode-like. Very thin and narrow and short. Short is not short, it's a long track, but short is in, you know, barriers are short. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just trying to fill time here. Give me something to say. Come on, give me something to say. Talk to me. I've already jinxed you, I don't want to jinx anyone else. Look, Callie, I'm trying my best to fill some time. Safety car's in this lap. Here we go. Safety car's in. Right, let's stop talking about that now, shall we? Don't show your workmates this comms. It's a bit NSFW. Anyway, we're going to be going racing in a couple of corners' time. Holmesy, you're a shitter. Apparently, according to Mark of Kenya. So, yeah, there you go. That's what your fellow NRL League drivers think of you. We're going to be going driving. Holmesy is backing the pack up nicely. He's going to be making himself a bit of a gap. He went around about on the exit of this corner last time. Is he going to do the same thing again? He does. He bolts. He goes really early. Vengeance can't stick with him. He's already got a 1.4 second lead. Stein is going to be looking to make an overtake. We've got a yellow flag. It's gone back, it's fine. Here goes Stein up the inside of PhD Vengeance, makes the move into turn 1, gets it done. Fresh, soft tyres there. Mr. Woot is going to be looking to make a move as well. He's already on the back of Vengeance. He's going to be looking, he's going to be wanting to make the move as quickly as he possibly can. Only driver not to have a penalty, along with Holmesy and Stein. Everyone else has got penalties. Mr. Woot looking to get the exit right here on Vengeance. He's got Tosakaba right up behind him. Mr. Tosakaba is going to be looking to make a move up the inside. Does, sends it. Mr. Woot on the outside, hangs it there, gets the inside line for the next corner. And they're going side by side into this corner. And Tosakaba gets that move done. Mr. Woot has dropped a position to P5. But with the time penalties, Mr. Woot will still finish on the podium in P3. So let's not forget about that. Stein back into P2 from where his qualifying position was. Let's have a quick look. Let's get the penalties up. Let's see what they've got. Stewart's got 9 seconds. NRL Ben's got 5. Exotic's got 6. Mr. Woot's got none. And he's got Stuart Little for company behind him now as Toss is starting to drive away a little bit from. And he's going to look to go around the outside there. Horrible camera view there. I thought he was driving right into the wall there, it looked like. Don't know about anybody else. But here goes Toss the Caber. And he's going to look to get past PhD Vengeance and get podium on merit. But once he gets past, he's going to have to drive like stink for the last lap as Holmesy starts the last lap of the Singaporean Grand Prix. And is Toss going to make a move up the inside at turn 1? He thinks about it, but then stops thinking about it. Moves back in, but looks to go up the inside at turn 3. Gets it done. Vengeance runs very wide. Mr. Woot is also there, looking to make a move up the... is he going to make a move up the inside there? No, he's not. He's going to hang back, and he's going to have to bat off Stuart Little. And Mr. Woot's going to look... very, very close between those two drivers there. Miss Stuart Little looks to go the inside, darts back in, and NRL Ben probably got a bit shaken up there. So Mr. Woot is going to have to hope and pray that he's not going to get more than 3 seconds away from Toss the Caber, because Mr. Woot needs to get the move. Vengeance still holding off Mr. Woot. Stuart Little in P6 with 9 seconds worth of penalties. So Mr. Woot is the only driver who now can claim the podium. And I think the time that he has lost stuck behind Vengeance is going to cost Mr. Woot this podium, unfortunately, Jack Davis. Your friend is not going to get this podium. I think the time he's lost behind the slow-moving, very worn tyres of PhD Vengeance. The only reason he's slow-moving is because of his tyres. He's a pretty fast driver on his own right, in fact. DRS has just been enabled, and I've just missed Honesy crossing the finish line, so I do apologise. Honesy wins the race. Stein's up in P2. He's too busy watching this battle here. So Toss comes across the line in P3. Mr. Woot gains up to P4, but yeah, unfortunately doesn't quite get enough time to get the podium. Lost too much time on that last lap, but what a drive from Mr. Woot from pretty much the back of the grid to P4, and yes, driver of the day, I would have given him that as well. What a drive from Mr. Woot, and that is the end of that. We have our Honesy wins another race in NRL, Stein on the podium in NRL, and on the podium with him is Mr. Toss the Caber. So P1 last week, P3 this week for Toss. And he said he was 2 seconds off the pace. He wasn't. He was pretty much on the pace. So GG's to Honesy, the podium sitters. Ferrari top step, McLaren and AlphaTauri on that podium in Singapore. Quite a few time penalties here to talk us through. Incidents wise, quite a few as well. It's a 57-minute, 55-second race. I said it would be a long one, and it was. Quite a few incidents. Let's run through these. Lots on, yeah, lots of them. Japanese Stuart Little, causing quite a few at around about the same time. Yeah, look at all these. Look at all these. Look at them all. Blimey, O'Reilly. Pit stops. Lots. Who made the most pit stops in the race? Exotic went through the pit lane 6 times, and that was it, by quite some distance. The closest to him was 3. So Exotic goes through the pit lane 6 times, inters, mediums, soft. Everyone else, Ben used 1 set of each, inters, mediums, hard and softs. So did Mr. Woot, and yeah, Vengeance only used 1 stop strategy, inters to hards, and took those hards all the way to the end, but unfortunately with 11 seconds worth of time penalties, it did drop him down quite a lot. There we go. Thank you for joining us this fine evening. And yeah, that is NRL Season 5, Round 2, Singapore Grand Prix over and done with. Thank you for joining us. Apologies for getting cancelled, but yeah, that's you now before I do genuinely get cancelled. Over and out.